Stuart, disappointing result?
Of course it is. Any game of football is disappointing when you lose it. Again, I feel we've found a different way to lose a goal tonight. 20 minutes into the game, I feel we've settled fine. I think we've got the majority of the ball. Feel like you're playing a lot of the game towards Aberdeen's territory, but for me not with enough quality and enough purpose. I have to say that. And then, you know, a ricochet, a deflected shot, good block, deflected shot. It's where you expect your instincts to defend your box to kick in, be first to arrive at a ball that's in there for a period of time. And we're standing stationary, similar to Rangers' first goal against us, and it was a set play on Saturday, but our instincts aren't getting into those positions which save goals, and to be honest with you, out with that, what did Aberdeen really have in the game? It's that one moment in the game our goalies had nothing to do. We didn't learn a lot about him as a goalkeeper tonight because he's barely had a thing to do, and then we played with more purpose in the second half. We absolutely did. We got into the final third quicker. We got a wee bit more quality into the box, both from set plays and from open play, and we've got a couple of good chances in there. So as I say, it's not a good recipe when you concede a goal like that, but you're not able to capitalise on the other side. Would we like to create more chances? Of course we would. We'd like to play with more purpose, but I think the worst thing that we should be walking away from that game is 0-0 and ruined chances that we missed, and I think I'm fairly certain that everybody sitting here would see that as well.
Is it the frustrating thing that it's sort of the similar story that silly goals conceded and maybe not taking chances when they're coming?
It is. It doesn't matter how many times we want to try and dissect it. As I say, frustration from me that we didn't play with enough purpose in the first half. Because again, I could sit here in front of you and say, oh, we had all the ball and we were, we were kind of playing in full control. But we're playing to win and we're playing to score ultimately. And I know there's a bit of frustration from myself and for the players themselves and punters that you don't carve out enough chances from being so in control. I think we rectified that to a point in the second half with the opportunities that we create, but we, as I say, our reactions and our instincts probably need to be better all in, both offensively and defensively. I can sit here and make every excuse under the sun. I've looked at the statistics. What does that mean? That doesn't guarantee you winning a game of football. We've had more shots, we've had more of the ball, we've had more corners. We need to capitalise on that and make sure that we turn that into, for me, not even just 1 point, that needs to be turned into 3 points when the game's played out that way.
Really short turnaround now, but time to work on these things ahead of a big game on Saturday.
There's not an awful lot of time to work on it. I was just asked a question there, what can you do to change the goal you conceded tonight? We need to have better instincts, we need to have better reactions. I talk about being proactive all the time rather than reactive, and ultimately that's what's cost us a goal tonight. We stand and we wait to see if somebody else is going to react to it, and that's what's cost us. In terms of how we want to play, it looks more like it is in the second half as opposed to the first half. So those are the bits that you'll try and highlight and the bits that we'll try and work towards for the game on Saturday. And we have to come out fighting as well. As much as we want to be really creative and nice in the eye and all that different type of stuff, we have to come out with a wee bit more hunger. I think at times, in the last 3 games we've conceded the first goal, so we need to come out with more of a purpose to make sure that it's a more of a difficult game for the opposition, and we give ourselves something to hang on to, similar to what Aberdeen do tonight. They get their goal, and then they almost just gift up loads of territory and ball to ourselves. So we want to try and get our noses in front, because we've shown that we're a good front runner as well. But I thought tonight was an opportunity for us to fight back after that error. I thought tonight was one that we would at least get ourselves level, but we've not. We've let ourselves down.
You were pretty frustrated on the touchline tonight, Stuart, in the first half in particular, with the ball always going backwards. Was that your message at half time, with the players to play on the front foot and get the ball?
It's always my message. The players know that. I do believe that we got to a point tonight where we felt that we had to play with a little bit more control, not being hopeful to go into areas, trying to play into forward areas with quality. So that's always my message. That's never changed at any point. So of course my frustration then comes that sometimes you need to take your bat out and have a swing. You might give the ball away, there might be a few jeers and boos and all that different type of stuff, but you have to look to be creative in possessing the ball. You've got to get it wide, you've got to have penetration, you've got to activate your strikers and your forward thinking players in the game to score a goal, because if you play across the middle third, you're never going to score a goal ultimately. So the players know that, they understand that there was a frustration from them, because again we need to remember they're human beings. Sometimes they're not playing in those areas because they don't see the picture that you believe's there, but I think it's fair to say in the second half we'd done that with a lot more purpose, but we do have to have that end product, because there's a couple of glaring opportunities for us to at least get level with Aberdeen.
Yeah. So we were talking about creativity there, Stuart. How good is it to get Scott Tiffany back on the pitch? He was a real bright spark towards the end of the game, the creativity.
He was, but when we were back to the stage we were winning games and we got off to a really good start in the season, we felt that every substitute that was coming on was really offering something to us and giving us a real good impact. So again, that's that expectation. You expect players to do that. It's their job, ultimately. We expect players to start a little bit better as well. It's important to say that when you make that selection and you get a starting jersey, you expect them to start well. But going to your point, it's great to have him on the pitch. We know that Scott brings good experience at this level. We know he brings good quality. He's someone that can cause the opposition real problems, and I think he showed that through periods when he was on the pitch tonight. So that obviously is a major positive. Bruce Anderson's the same when he comes on. So they show up as being bright sparks and guys that can be creators within the game. So quite clearly that's something that we're going to rely on through the course of the season.
Why was there a lack of fight or hunger at points when trying to achieve?
There wasn't a lack of fight. That's the wrong phrase. There's plenty of fight, but I think at times, I've just spoke about it there. That lack of a reaction at times. I think you could see in the second half when the ball went out of play, the game started much quicker from us. So again, that's not a lack of fight. That's just that's an endeavour to go and try and start the game quicker, to play with more of a purpose, to play with more energy. The buzzword that we all want to use now is intensity, so it's absolutely that as well. So I think even just from that simple factor of restarts in the game's a massive thing. We're all talking about it at this minute in time. Start the game quicker, play with more of a purpose, play in the correct areas, make sure that you start to test the opposition's backline by getting crosses into the box, by dribbling inside the penalty area, getting shots off. That's a simple formula. It's definitely not fight. There's plenty of fight there, but there just has to be more of a thrust and more of a drive to our play, and I think that will also help us defensively. I need to highlight that factor. If we play with more intensity, more drive, then we'll defend our penalty box far better.